क्योंकि ब्रिटिश उस टाइम पे तो नेपाल के अंदर कब्जा नहीं कर पाए थे। वेलकम बैक टू फाथन रिएक्शन, और आज हम रिएक्शन देने वाले बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट वीडियो पे और बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है। नेपाल जो था वो एक इंडियन पार्ट था, और काफी नेपाली भी बोल रहे कि यार काश नेपाल इंडिया का पार्ट होता। तो हम देखते हैं कि क्या नेपाल इंडिया का पार्ट था या नहीं था पिछले टाइम पे, पुराने टाइम पे। सो हम उसको कवर करेंगे और आपके साथ शेयर करेंगे कि क्या नेपाल इंडिया का पार्ट था या नहीं।
Was Nepal ever a part of Bharat, or has it always been an independent kingdom since ancient times?
Okay.
For those who don't know where Nepal is, let's take a look at Nepal.
नेपाल इंडिया का बॉर्डर
So Nepal is over here, right? North India. In the Himalayas, essentially the Himalayan region, northern India, that is now the independent sovereign nation of Nepal. So what is the story? Well, the Nepalese say that they have always been independent since the beginning. That's what they say. Okay, so what do the facts of history tell us, right? So if you can see, Nepal is part of Jambu Dweep. It's part of the Indian subcontinent. It's very clear, right? It's over here. Now, what's the story? So Nepal, at various points in time, has been part of the Kosala Mahajanapada, the Panchal Mahajanapada, the Malla Mahajanapada, the Kashi Mahajanapada, and the Vrijika Mahajanapada, which was a confederation of various clans led by the Licchavi clan. So these are various Mahajanapadas that Nepal was at various points of time part of. Kosal was one of the most powerful and prosperous Mahajanapadas of all time, right? We know that. Yeah, I hope you know that. Panchal, Malla, etc. were also there. So Nepal was the territory of Nepal, the present-day territory of Nepal, was part of these various Mahajanapadas at various points in time. The Mahajanapada era begins right after the Vedic era. It most likely lasted thousands of years. And the Mahajanapada era lasted until about 500 or so BC. And then you had the various Magadha empires that came into place after that. So then you had various empires that were based out of Magad. The capital of Magad was typically Rajgir, Rajagriha, or Patliputra, which is now called Patna, right? So Nepal, the territory of Nepal, was at various points in Indian history part of various empires based out of Magad. For instance, the Nanda Empire. The 5th century and the 4th century BC, the Nanda Empire was a massive empire, very strong, powerful empire, short-lived but very powerful. The Nanda Empire was in power in India when the Greek warlord Alexander tried to invade India, disastrous attempt to invade India. Why did his soldiers rebel against him? Because they knew the military strength of the Nanda Empire. So, when the Nanda Empire was in power in India, Nepal, the territory of Nepal, was part of the territory of the Nanda Empire. Then you had the Mauryan Empire, an even larger empire, massive empire. Nepal was part of the territory of Chandragupta Maurya during the Mauryan Empire era. And of course, the even larger territory of Ashok Maurya, Ashoka the Great, also incorporated Nepal in it, right? So Chandragupta and Ashok, Nepal was part of their empires. Then you had the Shunga Empire, Pushyamitra Shunga, 185 BC, right? Nepal was part of Pushyamitra Shunga's empire. Pushyamitra Shunga arrested the imperial decline of India at the hands of the later Mauryan kings, and he re-established political unity to a large extent and stability in India. So Nepal was part of the empire of Pushyamitra Shunga, very much so. And then when it comes to the Kushan Empire, are you even kidding me? The Kushan Empire, it touched the banks of the Caspian Sea and the Aral Sea. It also incorporated parts of what is now called Xinjiang, the Tarim River Basin region, and of course large parts of northern India and western India. The capital of the Kushan Empire it had two capitals, Mathura and Purushpur or Peshawar today. Patliputra was part of it, and Nepal was very much part of the Kushan Empire. Now, some very intelligent people will say the Kushans were not Indians. Please take a hike. The Kushans were more Indian than most Indians you think of. The Kushan Empire did more to promote India's national interest, civilizational interest, and to spread Indian culture worldwide than most Indian empires you know of. So the Kushans were more Indian than most other Indian empires, right? Then you had the Gupta Empire, right? When did the Gupta Empire come to power? In the 4th century AD. Until about the middle of the 5th century AD. The Gupta Empire, they had some magnificent, brilliant rulers. Chandragupta the first, Chandragupta the second, Kumar Gupta, Skanda Gupta, Samudra Gupta. So the Nepal region was very much part of the Gupta Empire. All right. Then you had the Karkota Empire based out of Srinagar, Kashmir, another massively expansionist but short-lived empire. Parts of Nepal were part of the Karkota Empire as well, maybe whole of it. Then you had the Pala Empire based out of the east of India. Well, parts of Nepal were part of the Pala Empire as well. The Pala Empire was a reasonably long-lived empire around the middle of the 8th century AD until the middle of the 12th century AD. So Nepal was part of the Pala Empire as well. So I mean, you can look all this up yourself. Don't ask me for sources. Do some homework. Those of you who are going to say, show me the evidence. Look it up. I'm not going to spoon feed you. All right. So you will be able to find all the corroboration that you want of whatever I have said in various history textbooks. If you will only take the trouble to open a textbook for yourself. And please don't rely on Google searches. Please don't do that. Do some actual work. So Nepal was always part of various Indian kingdoms and empires, and it has always been part of India. The Nepalese people are no different from the Indian people. Same ethnicity, same culture, same ancestry, same everything, same language, same culture, same religion, and so on and so forth. It's only in the 18th century that Nepal emerged for the first time as an independent entity under Prithvi Narayan Shah, who conquered the Newar Valley, and he forged this little kingdom there. And it is an independent nation because of an accident of history. The British deemed it worthwhile to allow Nepal to remain nominally independent, nominally outside the British Raj, as a buffer state, because there was a significant amount of Chinese interference in Tibet at the time. So they wanted a buffer. And that's why Nepal remained nominally independent, but not truly independent. Nepal has always been part of the Indian economy. Nepal was always integrated with the economy of the larger Indian subcontinent, part of Jambudweep, right? So that's what it was. And you may think that Nepal was independent as a kingdom, but let me remind those of you who don't realize this, that the incident in Jallianwala Bagh, the massacre, just revisit that chapter of history and find out who were the soldiers who were firing bullets at unarmed civilians. Just find out. At least 50% of the soldiers who fired bullets at unarmed civilians, men, women, children, were Gorkhas. Now, I am not blaming the Nepalese people for what happened, but I'm just pointing out that Nepal, if you think it was independent, think again. Yeah, there is something called independence in name, and then there is something called independence in fact. So these two things, please understand, they are not the same. So anyway, that is about the Nepal. Nepal has always been part of India's civilization and culture, and in the future it will still remain that.
So उम्मीद है कि आप लोगों ने ये वीडियो देखी। सबसे पहली बात यहाँ पे ये करें, जब मुगलों का टाइम था भारत यानी हिंदुस्तान के ऊपर, तो तब पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश और इंडिया सारी एक ही कंट्री थी, सही है ना। और उससे पहले भी अगर बात करें, नेपाल भी इसी के पास था। नेपाल एक अलग कंट्री इस तरह बना कि जब ब्रिटिश आए तो ब्रिटिश ने पूरे इन तीनों कंट्री जो अभी पाकिस्तान, इंडिया और बांग्लादेश है, इन पे कब्जा किया। बट जब एक पॉइंट था जिसको अभी नेपाल हम कह सकते हैं, या उस टाइम के ग्रेटर नेपाल का, तो इस पे ब्रिटिश ने कब्जा नहीं कर पाया। और जो गोरखास इतने ताकतवर लोग थे नेपाल के, ब्रिटिश से लड़ा और ब्रिटिश इन जगहों पे कब्जा नहीं कर पाया। सो काफी टाइम तक लड़ाइयां चली और काफी टाइम तक, तकरीबन कोई 100 साल तक ब्रिटिश इंडिया या हिंदुस्तान के अंदर थे। तो जब वो जा रहे थे, उससे पहले 1816 के दिन संधि हुई थी। तो जो ग्रेटर नेपाल था, जो नेपाल की एक बड़ा सा हिस्सा था, जिस एरिया पे ब्रिटिश कब्जा नहीं कर पाए, तो इस चीज को उन्होंने थोड़ा फिर काफी सारी जगहें जो थी वो इंडिया में शामिल कर दी। जो हिंदुस्तान था उस टाइम का, तब पाकिस्तान नहीं था, तब तो हिंदुस्तान कह सकते, तो उस हिंदुस्तान के अंदर उन्होंने शामिल कर दिया और नेपाल को एक अलग कंट्री के रूप पे बना दिया। क्योंकि ब्रिटिश उस टाइम पे तो नेपाल के अंदर कब्जा नहीं कर पाते थे, और ब्रिटिश से पहले ये सारा एक ही था, नेपाल, बांग्लादेश, इंडिया, पाकिस्तान, तो ये सारी एक ही के अंदर आती थी हिंदुस्तान के अंदर। सो यहाँ पे हम ये कह सकते हैं कि वो अब जो नेपाल वाला साइड है, वहाँ पे अपनी बादशाहत चल रही थी या किंगडम चल रहा था, जैसे कि अभी मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा, बट आपको पिछले वीडियोस में बताया गया था। तो उस पार्ट पे ये नेपाल की जो पट्टी थी, उस जगह पे ब्रिटिश कब्जा नहीं कर पाए। और जब लड़ाइयाँ हुई गोरखा से, नेपाली लोगों से, तो वो फिर हार गए और कुछ एरिया नेपाल से काट के, जिस टाइम पे ये ग्रेटर नेपाल था, तो उस टाइम पे कुछ जगह काट के नेपाल को एक अलग सा कंट्री बना दिया गया। फिर जब 1947 के अंदर कंट्रीज आजाद हुई, तो पाकिस्तान पूरे हिंदुस्तान से दो कंट्री आजाद हुई जी, एक पाकिस्तान था, ईस्ट पाकिस्तान और वेस्ट पाकिस्तान, और दूसरा था इंडिया। और नेपाल जो था वो नेपाल तो एक अलग ही था, नेपाल का तो इनसे कोई लेना देना नहीं था। अब दो कंट्रियां थी, पाकिस्तान, ईस्ट पाकिस्तान और वेस्ट पाकिस्तान, स्टार्टिंग से किसी के कब्जा था ही नहीं। सो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि नेपाल पहले के पार्ट था इंडिया का या हिंदुस्तान का, अभी तो नहीं कह सकते क्योंकि अभी तो एक अलग कंट्री है। सो पहले के टाइम पे ये कह सकते हैं कि 1816 से पहले के टाइम पे या 1700 BC के टाइम पे नेपाल इज अ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया।